on time. That means a lot. And then everybody else will just give them a judgingly glaring stare as they walk in. I'm just kidding. No, we're fine. We have again, another jam-packed afternoon today. Dr. Gary will be jumping on board at the next segment. I have a couple of exciting announcements. So, sorry, Gary, can you have Chris give me the giveaway sheets? I think she was going to get them for me just next door. Yeah. So we are giving away a few things this weekend, and tomorrow we're going to be raffling off a couple gift cards for all of you guys potentially. So all we ask is a couple parts of this is good news. Well, first off, who here follows us on Instagram? Okay, not enough. We're going to fix that this weekend. Georgie, how often do we post valuable content on our Instagram? Every day. Today is April 21st. So how many days in the year are we in so far? 31, 27. We're at, give me a rough number, 100 days?
Yeah.
Yep. So we are 100 days into posting 1 to 3 pieces of content every single day on our Instagram. We're going to be posting 1 to 3 pieces of content 7 days a week for 365 days this year. You see us almost every day on there pretty much. Yeah, you got stories going on over here and that kind of stuff. Well, the good news is...
all videos with him. Like for real.
Yes. And so it keeps the action, it keeps all the insights from this weekend and from these workshops going. And then those are all obviously all on TikTok, on our Facebook. But the exciting news is we are also officially have launched our YouTube channel. Now, our YouTube channel has always been up there, but we actually have a whole bunch of series of training modules and videos and insight stuff there as well. So everything you see short form on our Instagram in 90 seconds or less, you now are going to be seeing and exposed to all the long form. Those are all pulled, most of them are pulled from long form interviews and tutorials and more training. So not only do you have all the hundreds of hours of training on the TBA website, which I know you guys are taking full advantage of, right? Every one of your team members plugged into that website, training every single week, right, Tiffany? That's right. We also have more available on YouTube for you guys to work with. And then with that being said, the final exciting announcement is the Business Academy podcast is officially launched on iTunes and on Spotify as well. And we're going to be we have a schedule of 1 a week that will then be increasing as time goes on as well. So you can, when you're at the gym, you can hear me and Dr. Gary. When you are in the office, you can hear me and Dr. Gary. When you're at home, you can hear me and Dr. Gary. When you are training getting better, you're hearing me and Dr. Gary. When you're sleeping, you're gonna hear me and Dr. Gary, right? And your husband's like, who are these guys you're listening to? No, we just want to make sure and then we're obviously on Zoom here every other month for our seminars. We're here in person. We have our training center, guys. There is not only so much available strategies for you guys to use, but there's also so many resources to get it in. There's no shortage of taking full advantage of what we have. So with that all being said, exciting announcements. We want to get those kick-started off with our giveaway this weekend. So I'm going to pass these out to each of you guys. And all you got to do, I'm going to be giving away a $100 gift card for your favorite restaurant you pick. TBA is going to take care of it. I'll also be giving away 2 other Amazon gift cards as well tomorrow at 3:30. Why don't you take these and pass it down? Actually, that'll be faster. Tomorrow, so all you got to do is you can get a ticket or an entry for anything that you do on there based on what the action is. You can do everything on there as much as you want. You can get 50 tickets. You can do whatever you'd like. And I'll introduce you guys to Chris over the break, and she'll show you guys how to engage and be a part of the Business Academy family and get entered into our giveaway. So with that being said, at the break time, I'll introduce you guys to Chris, and you can just let her know what you did and what you're doing. And that applies to everyone on Zoom as well. You guys can also enter to win. All you got to do is do anything that we're going to mention this weekend, which I'll have Cindy post something in the chat box for you guys. And then Chris will get entries in for you from Zoom into the giveaway for tomorrow as well. So if you guys want to follow us and subscribe to us, to our new podcast, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, comment, all that good stuff, you can earn tickets for tomorrow's giveaway. All right. So with that being said, thank you, Tiffany. With that being said, I'm super pumped to go over the next segment in today's session. You guys are not only going to be able to get more marketing tools and systems to drive in more new patients, but you're also going to be part of Dr. Gary's live corporate lunch and learn. He's going to be walking you guys through a lunch and learn presentation as if you were all the potential new patients that could be coming to your practice today as well. So Dr. Gary, we have, thank you very much. Dr. Gary, we have office managers, marketers, doctors, case managers, the whole gamut.
Okay.
Teams are in here. So these are your people, guys. Bring your questions, everything you got. Just make sure that mic gets passed around. And I think we're going to learn a few ways to get about, I don't know, another 10 or 15 new patients a week into your practice just from this segment this afternoon alone. So the man, the myth, the legend, the man has been here, done that, and is here to teach you guys. Let's go ahead and give it up for Dr. Gary Rademacher.
Awesome. You guys have a good lunch? Ready to get going? Perfect. So I have an idea. This front desk, just show of hands. Okay. How about marketers, people who are in the marketing department? Okay. Case managers. Okay. Owners. Okay. Good. All right. Anyone else I miss? Manager. Sorry. Manager. Everything else. Awesome. Okay. So this next part is on setting up events. This is probably one of the easiest way to get new patients into your office. When you look at, let's just put it out there. What do you guys think? How do you think the healthcare system is in this country? And do you think it's good, good or no? Broke, not great. Okay, good. So we're on the same page there. So your public is, in corporate America right now, or they're sitting at a desk. And the thing is they're not getting the treatment that they need. They have physical problems, right? And mental and chemical, but they have these issues and they're not really getting a lot of help for them. So, but here's the thing, they're not looking for your offices. When you look at what's currently going on, was it 8% of people see chiropractors? So it's when you have 8% of the population sees chiropractors, it means 92% of the people who have issues, like let's just put it this way. The number 2 reason why someone goes to the hospital is for what? Back pain, right? They're not going, it's the number 2 reason why they're going to the hospital. They're not going to your offices, and that's like your wheelhouse. Now, I know you guys do a lot more than just back pain, right? But I'm just using that as an example. So they're not looking you out. And so you've got to figure out ways to actually bring them in. And your pipeline is super important. You want to have this pipeline full of new patients coming in at all times. It takes a ton of pressure off. Like for case managers, if you've got like, say 10 case management report final cycles a week, and you need, or let's say you only have 5. But you need 7 or 8 starts a week to get your growth projections in your office. And you only have 5 new patients coming in. What are you thinking? You got to do it with every single person. I've got to start every single person. Now, is that going to happen? Nah. Not everyone's a good fit for your office, or maybe you don't want some of these people, or, maybe they're a non-qual, so you want to have a pipeline full. So from a case management standpoint, if you don't start a few people, it's not a big deal. So it's you want to have at least 10 different ways of bringing new patients in. This is just one way, but the corporate events, I did corporate events for my business, and it went from 100 visits a week to 600 visits a week in about a year and a half, and it was doing 2 to 3 events a week. Okay, so it's something that is not hard to do. And you can literally have 1 or 2 I ended up having 2 marketing people in my office. One was actually setting up events, qualifying events, and they'd go to the events too. But then I had another person who was actually specialized in scheduling people and making sure that they arrived on time and had follow-up systems in. But, I had 2 people in my office when we were doing just events, and we actually ended up doing health fairs. So one of the things right now is, did anyone do events in the past pre-COVID? Do events? Are you doing events now or no? You are now? No? Okay. So you should be getting out there again now doing them. I know for a while you couldn't do them because of COVID, but you should be able to get out there now. One of the ways that actually got us back in was just doing vitamin injection events. And there's other ways I'm going to show you how to get in, but it's but vitamin injection events are really successful of actually them opening the door, and then you can bring in whatever you're going to bring in from a scanning standpoint, whether it's a surface CMG, a thermography, checking posture, doing posture raise, whatever that might be. So what we did that was really successful was B12 and breakfast. This was a really popular event that we did that got us started to get back into corporations. According to a report by Zippia, 83% of employers report increasing their workers' health thanks to their company's wellness programs. In addition, it was reported that the wellness programs have been shown to reduce absenteeism up to 14 to 19%. 84% of the employers reported higher productivity and performance from their employees due to wellness plans. 22 telling employee wellness statistics as in 2023. So it's companies want these types of programs in. And in fact, you can make money doing these types of programs. When we did health fairs, and this is something that we can give you more information on, but when we used to do health fairs, we'd actually charge vendors to go with us. And so we were making $200 to $300 a booth for every vendor that was there. Plus, and then we were also scheduling patients. So not only were we getting patients, we're also getting paid to actually set up the health fair, which would help to pay for the person who was actually doing the events. So you can make this actually a little mini business if you wanted to. B12 and breakfast events were developed during COVID to help healthcare professionals get back into companies and promote immune system boosting. These events are a great way to generate revenue and promote your practice. Offer flyers for IV services like Myers cocktails, immune boosting IVs, and ozone therapy to educate patients on the services your practice offers. How many of you guys are integrated? You have a medical provider? So this is easy to do, with like B12 injections. You can take zinc and vitamin C injections with you, charge for those. B12 though costs like $1. Doesn't cost that much, but you can actually upsell to zinc and C. So it's something to where it can actually pay for your time being there. Worked during COVID and works even better in 2023. So this is a great way just to get in. So obviously there's this decision maker. We're going to go over a couple things here. One is who in here is part of Doctors for Health and Wellness? Do you guys know what that is? Doctors for Health and Wellness. So what that is, it's a nonprofit organization that the Business Academy started. It's called Doctors for Health and Wellness. And basically you get your own, what do we all get with that? Basically it's a 501(c), but you get business cards and letter templates, but basically you can use a .org, a nonprofit, to actually get into companies. So basically when you're calling a company, it kind of looks like this. So like, okay, how many of you have watched like movies from like, not movies, but like, well, yeah, you watch movies, but like castles with moats around them and drawbridges and stuff, you're going back 400 or 500 years, right? So back in the day when a knight would ride up to the castle, how would the castle identify who that knight was? You guys know? Banner. It's the banner they're carrying, right? So if you're going into a business and you're carrying a chiropractic banner, or you're calling a business and you have a chiropractic banner, versus you have a banner that is a nonprofit group that is donating hours to the community from a health perspective, who are they going to let that drawbridge down to? It's not the chiropractor, right? I mean, so by being part of a nonprofit group, you can open those doors much easier. When you're calling them saying, hey, you're donating so many hours, which you're donating your time to go in there. You can do all kinds of different events, whether that's these B12 and breakfast, whether it's a screening, massage pamper event. It can be a lunch and learn. It's whatever you guys want to do, from a screening standpoint. Okay. So the dialogue for breaking through the corporate gatekeeper is this applies whether you're booking a B12 and breakfast, corporate lunch and learns, corporate health fairs, or employee pamper events. Getting through the gatekeeper is one of the hardest parts of your job. However, we don't have to drop from the ceiling tiles or scuba from the side of the building to get in. We're going to use the Doctors for Health and Wellness, 501(c) nonprofit, and donate hours as a way to get through the gatekeeper, through the decision maker, and hold these events at these large corporate companies. The simplest thing when you approach the gatekeeper is big smile, lots of ARC, affinity reality communication, for those of you who don't know what that is. You have to grant a lot of beingness. and importance to the gatekeeper. Otherwise, they'll just shoo you away. But when you grant them a lot of importance, it makes them feel better, warm and fuzzy inside, and they're going to be willing to talk to you and willing to help you out. So you're asking for help when you call. Hey, I was wondering if you could help us out. I was calling because we're part of a nonprofit group, Doctors for Health and Wellness, and we have to give 20 hours in the next 30 days to maximize our membership. And so we wanted to send over a couple of massage therapists to your office to do some pampering for the day. How many employees do you have? Or who do I need to speak to? Get to the gate. Who do I need to speak to actually set that up? It becomes really easy to set things up using that type of a language. Example script. Hi, I'm Gary from the Doctors for Health and Wellness. Is Kathy available to talk to her about your upcoming B12 and breakfast event for your employees? Go for the assumptive close. This is in this case, if you know the HR manager's name, Kathy. Now, if I don't have the HR manager's name, you can say, hey there, I'm Gary from the Doctors for Health and Wellness. Who do I need to talk to regarding setting up your upcoming B12 and breakfast event for your employees? You're assuming that you're going to get in, right? Who's in marketing again? Is this exciting? Good stuff? I mean, it'll get you in. It will get you in. I mean, it's like, especially like, for instance, for those of you who are doing insurance, is it warm in here or is it just me? Yeah. Maybe not a bad thing. I need to lose some weight. You will grow your practice significantly with this type of stuff. Just getting out in the community. Outflow equals inflow. You should always remember outflow equals inflow. The more you outflow, the more you communicate with your environment, the more people are actually going to come into you. Okay. Hi, I'm Gary from the Doctors for Health and Wellness. We are a 501c3 local nonprofit. I was just dropping by because we're offering complimentary B12 shots and breakfasts for local companies and employees as part of our wellness outreach initiatives. Who would I speak to touch base in regards to this? Or would that be you? So it's it always uses like an assumptive type like close. How many of you have massage therapists in your office? You want to get the massage therapist booked? I mean, do massage pamper events. You go in and you actually do the same type of script. Hey, it's Gary from Doctors for Health and Wellness. We're a nonprofit organization, and we've got 60 more hours that we have to donate. And so we have a bunch of massage therapists we'd love to send to your office to pamper your employees. What day and time works best for you? Just assume it. Now, as an employer, what's that going to sound like? It's going to be like, a lot of times they're like, hey, I want to just give back to my employees. Free massages? No brainer.
If something is free, you are the product.
What's that?
Something is free, you are the product. Nothing is free.
Well, elaborate.
But
Well, explain your statement.
call you and you tell me, hey, we do like free massage for
Yeah.
employees.
Yeah.
If it's a good manager or owner, you will understand that if they provide something free, they want you in their office or in their company. Just understand. But
Yeah.
it's like someone who is, they will go.
Yeah, and when you're doing it from a nonprofit standpoint, the defenses go down. They're not going to be as speculative on like, should we let them know? What do they want out of this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's a manager and they know like marketing rules,
Yeah. These work great. Okay. Once you have the decision maker in front of you, you reintroduce yourself. I was just dropping by because we're offering complimentary B12 shots and breakfast for local companies as part of our wellness outreach initiatives. Pause, let them respond. If they want to know more or are interested, you can state a number of local businesses are taking advantage of this to help provide health and wellness services for their employees. Increase energy and can help fulfill an employee wellness requirement for your business. We offer our medical team and nurse to your business, and provide a B12 and other vitamin injections, as well as breakfast to help your employees stay energized and focused and throughout the day. We have about 12 hours left in the quarter to donate. We need to fill and volunteer hours in the next 30 days. How many employees do you have? Get their answer and determine how much time you need. Okay. Now, I don't know if we get into this here later, but what we used to do is have a Google document that had a sign up sheet. So once we were scheduled to go, we'd actually send the contact person a Google document to sign up so we could actually see people who are scheduling. And then I would know how many people I actually need to take to employ that event. Okay. And, you know, how many massage therapists. I think massage therapy, like massage pamper events are really good. The B12 stuff is great. It can help to get in the door, especially during COVID. But now that people don't have as much of an issue of, you know, the whole distancing thing. You guys ever watch, what's his name? Brewer. He's the comedian. You guys know, who is it? Jim Brewer. You ever watch his skit on COVID? Like 6 foot safe, 5 foot danger. Yeah, that type of stuff. It's just hilarious. You got to see it. Anyway, but since there's that personal contact, distance is not a big issue anymore. You can get back in with massage therapy. But what that does is it helps to bring in people to get exams, right? But also, if you do have massage therapists in your office and they like that massage therapist, you can have like a massage club going or something like that, and you can build up your massage business. Okay. Great. So for those that are interested, we would need about 3 hours to take care of your entire team. The only catch is if we do bring breakfast, you need to know any dietary restrictions to ensure everyone can enjoy it. We have blank day and blank day open. Which day would work best for you? We can do, you know, that time slot and whatever, which would work best for you or your team. Continue with scheduling the event and providing an necessary trifolds and packets for the event. So the other thing is follow-up is key, right? So how many contacts typically does it take to actually schedule someone or something? What do you guys think? 7, it's a good number. You know, it's like 5 to 12 contacts typically. So I want you to just think that if you call one time and you don't get a response, don't worry about it, right? You know, you want to have a good CRM so that you're following up. And once you do get someone, you can create a workflow. You know, you can have emails that are already done that you're sending out on a weekly basis. And the great thing about that is right now, like they may not want an event now, but let's say 3 or 4 months from now, let's say the executive in the office tells their office manager, hey, you know, we need to do something for the staff. And if you're continually in communication with them, who are they going to think of? They're going to say, oh, I'm going to call, you know, Doctors for Health and Wellness. They do events, right? So you want to continually outflow. All right, Doctors for Health and Wellness, sign up for Doctors for Health and Wellness. So basically, there's a bit.ly link right there. You can take a picture of that, or you should have these slides from Cindy. But basically, it's just a sign up sheet for these for Doctors for Health and Wellness. It's now here's the thing: we don't make any money on this, but I believe it's like $100 for a year for it to be a member. This is actually sign up for Doctors for Health and Wellness. You get a whole package of information on how you operate as a nonprofit that can help you get into some of these businesses in your area. Okay, now totally worth doing. Even if you just did 1 or 2 events a month. I mean, how many of you guys how many businesses do you guys have around you guys? Tons. Yeah. I mean, you can do apartment complexes, condo complexes. You can do you can go chamber events. You can go to any type of other nonprofit events that are going on. You can offer your services. Doing this script and being part of the Doctors for Health and Wellness will open a ton of doors for you. And so you'll definitely increase your outflow and bring a ton of people into your office. And, we have, I don't know if we don't have it in here, I'll review it a little bit, but I'll go over some of the scripting when you're actually at an event that increases your show percentage quite a bit. Okay, following up in case they don't schedule. Any questions so far? Making sense? Okay, how many events do you guys do right now? Let's start here. A lot. I know you guys do a lot. You have a whole crew for events, right?
No,
No?
we just help out and be a marketer, but we go.
So the marketer sets them up and then the staff just goes, and then are you guys getting bonus for every new patient you schedule? What about what if they show up?
I mean, like they usually read like a promotion that goes out like to them, like exam consult, X-rays, $5.
Yeah.
Or they'll do like $50.
Yeah.
You know, discount that price for them to get in.
Do you guys do events over here? Yeah. What do you guys do?
Right now, it's like twice.
Mhm.
Like for us, we do the fair, the county fair. When it comes in. So that's like 2 full weeks.
Yeah.
February.
Yeah.
February.
Yeah.
A lot.
Good. Over here, I saw some hands go up. Events? No? Okay. Yeah. It's just another tool. You know, if you look at all the different ways to bring patients in, whether it's social media, it's SEO, Google AdWords, you know, YouTube videos, TikTok, Facebook ads, you know, lectures, events, a referral program. I mean, personal injury, professional referrals. I mean, here's the thing: if you do not, well, you guys, who's in Florida here? What just happened to the PIP laws? They change. Here's what happened in Colorado. Like back in 2003, the PI laws changed drastically, and we had like anyone that was just practicing PI and that's all they were doing, close their doors the next day. Yeah. So you don't want to, if you love living here, right? You don't want to have just one flow of new patients, right? You want to have 8 to 10 different flows. So if someone turns off one flow, you still have, you're not being affected by it. Okay. So you want to like expand your consciousness a little bit on how you bring in, patients. TV, radio. Yeah. I do a lot with radio, TV as well. So if you're integrated, you might spend more money, right, to bring in those higher value cases. But it's just, again, it's just all comes down to, you should have this ingrained in your mind. Outflow equals inflow. The more I outflow, the more that's going to inflow. And typically from a business perspective, you're looking at 10, 15% of your gross income should be thrown into marketing, just to keep on planting seeds out there. All right, 9 times out of 10, when you touch base with a decision maker, they are not going to be able to make a decision right then and there. And that's when follow-up is so key. Get all their information and start the email drip process, start the phone call and the texting process with that decision maker over the course of the following days, weeks to set up that event. What kind of CRM do you guys use? You see like your contact, was it resource management system, whatever? You guys use one? High level? Okay. HubSpot's an example of one, or Infusion, or so I'm throwing that out there just because when you get into this game and you're setting up events and you are you're cultivating leads, right? You want to take notes on them. You want to put them in a system where you're taking notes. When did you call them last? You want to create workflows so that you can see what emails did I send to them, what texts did I send to them. You can really cultivate that relationship. Okay. All right. But if you do have somebody who's ready to make a decision, schedule them for a time, confirm it with them, then let them know you're going to send them the follow-up email to confirm them for it. Get the exact times, the exact dates, and let them know how excited you are to serve their employees and look forward to your phone call and email to confirm the details. Following up with the decision maker if they don't schedule. Fortune is in the follow-up, email, phone calls, drop-ins, gifting. These are all ways you can follow up with the decision maker. So some of you might be thinking, like if you're setting up events, I need to hire, how many of you are thinking I need to hire someone to actually do this? Because do you have time to do it as the doctor? Typically not, right? So there's a lot of things that a marketing liaison person can do. It's just not events. Like if the personal injury game is still decent enough, they can also be trained up to be your attorney liaison. They're going out there and introducing themselves to attorneys and cultivating relationships. Okay. But well worth it to have someone on the line that's doing this kind of work for you. Okay. Gifting follow-up is really, really effective and very important as part of the follow-up process. You might bring in the HR director's favorite coffee from Starbucks, or have a small gift basket for the office directed to the HR director saying, hey, Kathy, this is you. This is for you and your team. I'm looking forward to working with you for your B12 and breakfast event coming up. Follow up, follow up, follow up. So another thing that you can do if you want to get into medical offices, besides hospitals, the urgent care centers, which you have your personal injury cases going there, or just your family medical doctor. Your family medical doctor, what are they seeing all day long? They're seeing musculoskeletal conditions all day long. What does a primary care do typically? They're referring or they're writing a script, right? They're writing a prescription, right? They don't, because what they do doesn't really work great. They know that. So why not educate that a medical practice? If you looked at every medical practice within a 5-mile radius of your office, and you did drop-ins with donuts or cookies or whatever, whatever that might be, and you just take 5 or 10 minutes to educate the staff, it's not the doctor that's referring most of the time, it's the staff. Okay. So that's a great way to actually just get your name out there in the community. Okay. Here's your event sign-in sheet. So there's a bit.ly link for this. Once the event is booked, send over the event sign-up sheet to the decision maker. This will be used for the employees to sign up for their injections ahead for arrival to your event. Great to have like a live document so you can, again, see who's scheduling. Because guess what you can do? If you see that sheet that's fairly blank, what can you do? Just follow up. Hey, I'm noticing that there's not been many people signed up for the event. What's going on? How can we get more people signed up for it? Okay, you can drive it more. You can also, part of this is you can also create like an electronic scheduling tab on this as well, where you can actually schedule people instead of just writing it down. You could, if you have internet access. The only issue is when you go into companies, sometimes they have restricted internet access, and that you always want to have a backup. So a good way to schedule people when you're at the event is to look at the next week, grab an envelope, put paperwork in it, and on the front of the envelope, just write the date and the time that you have available, and have them out on the table so that when you're scheduling someone, you can just have them pick which one works best for them. You just write the date and time, their name down, and they've got the paperwork. Okay. Really fast and efficient. And in fact, when we've done the health fairs, I think our record was we scheduled 50 people in about 55 minutes. But that you're set, it's locked and loaded though, right? That was actually a health fair, and we had a greeter. We had someone that was, we were using a Surface EMG, so we were scanning. We had a closer, and then I had people blocking the doors, and we do that at Lunch and Learns. So I'll discuss that here in just a little bit. But I actually prefer the paper scheduling over this just because it can be more efficient and faster than to sit there and type someone's name into the computer and make sure that it's saved, and where I can just give them an envelope and write their name down and the time, and it's done. All right, stations at the event, upsells and offers. Any questions so far? We're kind of blazing through it. Is it making sense? Okay, good. Now it's time to set up the event. Ideally, you would want to have 2 employees and your nurse, but you can do it with an employee and a nurse and combine it in the roles and stations. So station 1 is the greeter who handles all the stress surveys. So when you go to an event, you want the person to fill out a stress survey. You want to get data. I'll show you a copy of that here in a little bit. You're just getting information on what's going on with them. Station 2 is for the screening and the scheduling for the offer. And station 3 is for the injections and upselling to any other, or to upselling to other injections. Again, this is if you're doing a vitamin event. Your upsells would be vitamin C or zinc. What you're giving away for free is B12. You can upsell patients with vitamin C and zinc injections to increase revenue and opportunity at station 3 before their B12 shot. Provide breakfast burritos or other food items to make the event more appealing. Don't forget the coffee. Okay. So stations at the event, upsells and offers. Station 1 is a greeter who handles all the stress surveys. Okay. So basically they know why they're coming in, right? They've already signed up, to get an injection. Now, when we do B12 and breakfast events, we're also bringing screening equipment. We don't necessarily say we're doing that. We bring other stations. They're coming in knowing that they're going to get a B12 treatment, but we're also going to do for us, we do a thermal scan. We just do a spinal scan. And so when they come up, we just say, hey, just fill out the survey. Let us know what's going on with you. They never question it. They just fill the survey out and they just ask them a few questions off the survey. Okay. We'll review that here in a second. Station 2 is for the screening and the scheduling for your offer. Station 3 is for the injection. So we always get them to do a survey, screen them. I'll schedule them before they ever get their treatment for the day. Okay. So an example scripting for the greeter, station 1, the greeter script should focus on identifying the attendees, his most significant problem in room, have them fill out the stress survey and waiver for the B12 injection. So it looks something like this. Hey there, I'm Gary. Nice to meet you. I'm going to have you fill out this brief survey and waiver for today. Looks like you've been dealing with headaches. Wow, that's tough. How often do you get them? Twice a week. That's terrible. Did you know that neck issues are the cause of headaches since the nerves in your neck connect to the head, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So how that would look is you're just getting into two-way communication. You're just looking at the survey. So if we were looking at the survey, I would just be like, okay, which one of these bothers you the most? They've checked off. If they say it's headaches, as in this example, you want to acknowledge it appropriately. I'm sorry to hear that you had those going on. How often are you getting those? What do most patients do when they are talking about their problems? Do they maximize things or they minimize things? They minimize things, right? So what they'll do is like, oh, I only get them, a couple times a week. Oh, wow. You want to acknowledge that appropriately. That's not good. Twice a week. That's, how long has that been going on? If they say it's been going on for a couple of years, you want to maximize it. So, wow, a couple times a week for 2 years, that's a lot. You've had over 100 headaches in 2 years. It's horrible. So you want to maximize, make that number because what happens is people are, when someone's had a problem for a while, what typically happens to them? They get numb to it. Yeah, they're numb to it, right? It's kind of like they just they get used to it. It's kind of like pictures in your house. How many of you walk by the same painting or picture in your house that you've had up on the wall for 3 or 4 years? You don't even recognize it anymore. It's just part of the environment, right? So people's conditions are very similar. They just tend to adapt. Okay, and also, we mentioned numb over here. People get more numb. So as people get numb, what's another thing that numbs people? Medication. Yeah. Medication numbs people. So, what percentage of the population is on medication? Someone said a shit ton. Was that just my head? I thought I heard that in here. Yeah, so it's people are numb to what they have going on. So it's you got to increase their awareness, for them to show up in your office for an exam. And the other thing is when they've gone into get help from someone, if someone's just writing them a script and they haven't been helped, are they more or less likely to go down that path, or they don't think they can be helped? How many of you are in an office situation where they come to you and they go and you're the last resort? They've been everywhere else before, right? That's really common, right? Okay. So going back to the script, it would be, wow, so you've had, over 100 headaches in the last couple of years. It's horrible. What do you do for that when you get them? Oh, I take Advil. Oh, wow. How many do you take? I take 4 at a time. Wow. That's not good. Put appropriate pauses in there. It's so you've been taking 4 Advil every time you get a headache, or you take more often? Oh, I take it as a preventative measure. I take 4 a day. You see what I'm saying? You'll hear these types of things from people, right? So if you're taking 4 a day, we got a problem, right? We're going to do a liver analysis right now, and we're going to, but my point with that is you got to change their state. Okay. Now, once I get a little bit of information, then it's just an easy handoff to the person who's going to do whatever you're going to do, whether it's a massage, a scan, whatever it might be. Let's say you're doing a massage pamper event. I'll just be like, hey, so I would introduce them to the massage therapist. I'll tell the massage therapist what they have going on. And I'd say, please focus on their neck and upper backs. They're getting like, 2 headaches a week for the last 2 years. See what you find in that area. Just passing on the information. The massage therapist should be trained at palpating the area and actually pushing into the tight and sore areas. I mean, if you're a massage therapist or a chiropractor, it doesn't take much to feel someone and know like they got a problem, right? Push into those areas just a bit to where they notice it and have some discomfort, some pain, and just let them know, hey, that's not normal. Okay, keep doing the massage. Every once you find a trigger point or adhesions, push into it. Not normal. You feel this? Okay, it should does it feel the same as over here? Let them see the differences, right? You're again increasing awareness. Now, when it's a massage therapist, I've always trained my massage therapists to just be like, listen, they would state to the patient, listen, you got a lot going on. I don't know exactly what it is. It's either a bone, muscle, nerve, or disc problem. Okay. But if you could find out what's going on, would you want to? Okay. So it's a true statement. You haven't done an exam. You haven't taken any x-rays. I don't know what it is, but it's probably it's either a bone, muscle, nerve, or disc issue. Okay. Now there's a few reasons why I say that as well. It's number one, it's a true statement, but also you're creating a mystery. I understand when you create a mystery, it brings people in. Okay. It draws them in when they, so when I say, hey, if you could find out what's causing this, would you want to? And when they say yes, guess what I know? I know that there's a 92% chance in my office they're walking through the door for the exam. Okay. These scripts helpful? Okay. Okay. Yes, sir.
So the massage tampering.
Oh, hold on. Did you ever watch that game, that Gopher?
So with the massage pampering events, I mean, you're going out, you're doing the nonprofit. I mean, how much would you say a percentage is generated back to the business? Like, what is the most you've seen since doing, or
I'm trying to follow you.
meaning like if you do, let's just say you do a massage pampering event twice a month.
Okay.
I mean, what is generated back?
To the
Like,
business?
yeah.
Okay. Let's just run the numbers.
Mhm.
Let's just make it really easy. In my office, back then, when I was doing these, it's probably about a $4,000 to $5,000 case value. Let's say $5,000 case value. If I just brought in 10 people and I had a really crappy starting percentage, if I started 5 patients on care, it'd be 25,000 per event that I'd be bringing in. Now multiply it by 4 events a week. 2 events a month, 3 events a month. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Everyone's a little. Those are just averages, but your return's super high. Like for me, I went from 100 visits a week to 600 visits a week in a year and a half to 2 years to doing events. And I went from having 2 staff to eventually hiring associates, pushing me out of adjusting patients to eventually I hired case managers to push me up and out of case management to where next thing I was working on the business instead of being in it. That makes sense. So it massively can expand your organization. Again, it's all about dialing this in, and it's all about outflow, getting out there. Because the thing is the people in your communities have problems.
Mhm.
Especially like what's the average worker do? Computer work, right? They're sitting. We don't have. I wish we'd have brought that one up. It's not queued up for today, but we have a presentation on like smoking or sitting's the new smoking kind of thing, or stay fit where you sit. And most people are sitting. So ergonomic lunch and learns are a massive success. Just talking on ergonomics.
And would you be able to do the same thing with like chiropractic? Like let's say a Saturday, just kind of give out adjustments to the community?
It's not a bad idea. The only thing is what I suggest is people don't really know what chiropractic is. Like chiropractic's not it's branded for back pain,
Mhm.
but my recommendation is you always market conditions. Always market conditions. Okay. So it's a, does that make sense? Yeah, it's because the thing is if people want to go to chiropractors, they would be. We wouldn't be stuck at 8% of the population. They need us. They just don't know they need us. So we have to educate. You guys are in the education game. You have to educate your public. Oh, you can just put on a chair. Thanks. Appreciate it. Just got to educate your public. Yes.
So. Market conditions.
Yeah.
Are there certain conditions? There are certain things, but what?
I would always look at symptoms like back pain, neck pain, headaches. I would look at sciatica. I would look at stress. You know, you can do stress. You can do, boosting energy, conditional or symptom related type like stuff. Yeah.
A little bit from the question. We're Florida. Florida. When I started there, we only saw 7 patients a week. I'm sorry, 75. Yeah, it was this small, 150 patients a week.
Yeah.
And then I started doing a lot with the school board.
Yep.
So we worked with the schools, and if they allowed us to come in, we would do a day of pampering for their teachers, or we'll come back another month and do the office staff. That generated for us where we would do one 15-minute massage for them at, just kind of a pampering thing.
Mhm.
Those teachers would come back, bring teachers who didn't
Yep.
sign up for the event, who would then sign up for care, who would then sign up for everything. And we're at about 350 patients now,
Yep.
just from doing community events
Yep.
like that. So
Excellent.
it definitely works.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it works fantastic, guys. It's like, it's, if I had to build a business quickly, like if I was starting from scratch, the first thing I would do is 4 to 6 weeks before I opened, I'd go door to door. Introduce myself to the community. I had a good friend that did that 20 years ago and was at 400 patient visits a week in 6 weeks. Just went door to door. Introducing himself, hey, I'm Dr. Gary. I'm opening an office on the street. Here's what I specialize in this. If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. And just would give him a little something, and just went and hit thousands of doors before he opened. And then I would do events. I'd find out. I'd go into I'd Google any events coming up, street fairs, festivals, you name it, chamber events. I'd look up every business, that has 50 employees or more within 5 or 10 miles of my location. And I would start reaching out to businesses and doing these types of events. You got to go get it. They're not going to come in to see you. You're not going to open up your door, you put your name on the door, and magically you're going to start seeing people. It just is, I mean, some people, I guess, have that magnetism. I don't know, but I don't. I mean, you got to get out there and cultivate it and take it. Okay. Okay, so let me go back to just the script if it was a massage pamper event. So how many, so you're getting, so the massage therapist in this case says, I don't know quite what it is. It's either bone, muscle, or nerve or disc issue. But if you could find out what's going on, would you want to? And they're going to be like, yeah. The massage therapist they're looking at them as a professional, right? They take them to the closer and they just pass it they bridge it to the closer and just say, hey, listen, so, Mrs. Jones here has headaches, and she's had them for, a couple times a week for a couple of years, and definitely feeling a lot of tightness across the base of the neck and the shoulders. We're finding trigger points here and here and here, and touch them when you're talking, and they'd like to find out what's going on. And as a closer, I'd just be like, listen, so, what we do is we've set aside, we've donated part of this nonprofit. We've donated so many hours, for someone to come and get checked out. It's a very thorough exam. So, I don't, if you could find out what's going on, would you want to? I'd say it again. Yes. Perfect. What works better for you? Always give 2 options. Earlier in the week, later in the week. Like, they say earlier, it's Monday or Tuesday. They pick the day. And then you say, and you say 8 or 9, right? Give them 2 options. Once they choose it, then it's like, hey, this is your lock-in close. You state, is there any reason why you couldn't make this appointment? It will increase your show rate by 20%. Okay. And what I'd sprinkle on top of that when they're about ready to leave, to say, promise me you're going to make it. You know, our providers are super busy. You know, we want to make sure that, you know, you're taken care of, kind of thing. I mean, but just, I'm telling you, it's like, it's a 2 to 4 minute script with someone, and you'll have a high show rate with those types of scripts. Okay. So going back to the B12, I know you're here for your B12 injections today, but we do have a screening available here that measures nerve impulses in your muscles. If your headaches are related to your neck, we can identify if through the screening, would you like to try it? Great. Let me introduce you to the person who will be conducting the screening. Their name is Gary. Have pamphlets on your services at all your stations. Okay. So now we're kind of going back and forth between a pamper and doing like a B12, or you're doing it like a scan. Does anyone here use like a subluxation station or a MyoVision? You're using one of those. I like computers too. It's like people like bells and whistles, right? Especially when you turn the speakers on and it says G12, you know, L1. You know, it's like, so the computer's talking to them, you know, and it's showing colors and stuff like that. So if I was doing if I scan someone, like a thermal scan, you know, on the MyoVision, at least it shows colors, right? Has white is normal, you know, green is mild, blue moderate, red's more severe. So I just would always like make it light, like scan them. Then I'd be like, whoa, man, you look like a Christmas tree. Check this out. You know, white is normal. I mean, green's mild, blue moderate, red's more severe. Look at how severe you are right here. You know, and where was your problem? Many times it correlates, right, to what they have going on. And then you right away say, listen, I don't know what's causing this. Okay, so now why? Now I'm going to say, why am I saying I don't know what's causing it? Mystery. Who's the most curious people in the world? What's that? What do you guys think about? The most curious people in the world are who? Kids. They're called what? Terrible twos. Where's the socket? You know, they want to find out. That never leaves any of us. We're all curious. When there's a mystery and you don't know something, it pulls you in. It's like a magnet. So when I say, I don't know what's going on with you, it could be a muscle, bone, nerve, or disc problem. But if you could find out, would you want to? Guess what? It pulls them in. Yes. Oh, Mike, can you hand the mic back there, please?
So basically about what you're saying, isn't it that a little bit too, like, I don't know, like scary, or like to put the patient in, oh my God, what I have, or like at a low state, putting people in mystery?
I'm going to tell you that most people are below, like when you look at the emotional tone scale and you see where like fear is and stuff, many people are in apathy. Like they don't want to do anything about their condition. I understand what you're saying. Here's the thing. I would rather jolt them a bit because they're not doing anything. It's because the fact of the matter is that when you have a degenerative spine, or you have a spine that's not moving well, or a joint that's not moving well, or you have muscular imbalance, your condition is going to worsen. What percentage of the time, everyone? 100% of the time. The body breaks down if it's not functioning properly. So what we've conditioned in this society to do is basically, we're going to cover that up. We're going to mask it with pain. We're going to numb you, and so that you can keep doing what you're doing, but your body's going to keep rotting inside. That's what we're doing. And so you got to wake them up, because if they don't do something about it, what's going to happen is they're going to be 60, 70, 80 years old, living the life of their grandparents that they never wanted to live, decrepit and not being able to function very well. And that's what's happening at a high degree. So I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying it from this perspective. I want to shock and awe.
Okay. Good.
Right? Because it's like and I'll do it in a way that they can experience it. Like I'll be friendly, but at the same time, listen, what's your name?
Mandy.
Mandy, do you have anything going on health wise?
Yeah,
do-
back problem.
Back problems? How long have you had it?
5 years
5 years. How often do you notice it?
every day.
I'm sorry to hear about that. So in 5 years, every single day, you notice something like on a scale of 1 to 10, what's it feel like? Like 10 being bad, 1 being like, it's no big deal.
It's okay, but it bothers me when I work out.
Bothers you when you work out,
Yeah.
but you notice every day. So
Yeah.
365, so 2,000 times. So over 2,000 times, your back has told you that there's something wrong with it in the last 5 years. When are you going to start listening to your body?
I am. I'm getting treated.
You are getting treated. Good. So then depending on where they're getting treated, I'll be like, so what kind of treatment are you doing? And how long have you been going? Because there's different types of treatment out there, right? And I would actually dissect it. My point is that you've got to increase their awareness. You've got, because, or else they're not going to do anything, or if I'm going somewhere and I'm not getting all the help I could get, which is really common, it's why not try something different?
Okay.
Does that make
Makes
sense?
sense. Yes.
Yeah.
And I one thing up here.
Sure.
Realize too, you can't diagnose them at a CrossFit event.
No.
You can't diagnose the patient at a company that you're doing a corporate event at. Meaning, you don't know. You actually don't know if you can't help them, or you don't know what the cause is, because it could be, Dr. Garrett, you said it could be a bone, disc, muscle, tendon issue. It could be any one of these things. And the biggest mistakes I think doctors or marketers do in the field when they're doing events is they'll do a day one on somebody at a CrossFit gym. They don't have their equipment. You don't have imaging. You're not doing a full history. You don't have your staff there. So the idea is you want to be able to give them something to let them know, cool, okay, they might be of value to me. And yeah, now I'm a little curious to see if they can actually help me. And now I kind of had a little jolt. I probably should look into this.
Yeah.
So it's just enough to actually allow them to get the full exposure of a full diagnosis. And then obviously, like we went over earlier today, like on that first 5 minutes of the new patient appointment, you set the intent as a doctor and do that little walk-in.
Yeah.
If we can help you, great. But if we can't, I will refer you to somebody that I trust as a specialist. I can help you out.
Yeah.
Right. So that's key for
Yeah. Also on your point that, hey, I'm getting treatment, I'd be like, well, like for me, I know we do regenerative medicine. So it's kind of like, you may not be getting the kind of treatment that we can do. Right. And so we might be able to help more than where you're going currently. But the whole point is it's a little touch, it's increased awareness. It's to increase their awareness to where they actually come in to get checked out. And it comes down to the fact that, like, I know, like, okay, let's put it from this perspective. I just want to give you a little bit more on this so that you know where I'm coming from on it. Because I look at you guys have a responsibility to get out there and do these things, a duty, an obligation, because at the end of the day, like, how many people are dying a year from opioids? Right. And what's the number one condition that an opioid is prescribed for? Back pain, right? It's back pain. Okay. Now, has everyone seen Dope Sick in here? You haven't seen it, go see Dope Sick, right? What did the pharmaceutical company used to say? Only 1% addiction. It wasn't 1%. In fact, we know that if you're on an opioid, every day for 30 days, you have a 33% chance of being addicted a year later. There's 87,000, supposedly, I think it's more than this, 87,000 people that died last year from opioids. I think it's a lot higher than that. They don't look at the secondary effects. Now, I want you to put that in perspective to this. How many people have died in every single war since the Vietnam War? Vietnam, Korean, Vietnam, you had Iraq, you had Afghan, you had all the other military. Like, do you know how many soldiers have passed away during that time frame, during 60 years of wars? 115,000, give or take several hundred. Now you have 87,000, it's higher than that, in a year. This is a major catastrophic problem. It's not getting worse. In fact, what do they do to solve the problem? Let's just create another prescription called Narcan. So we're going to put that over the counter so that you can actually take that if you're having a side effect to the opioid, try to save your life. We're going to put that over the counter. They're not talking about taking it off. What's worse than that, what's just as good as an opioid for pain control? You guys read any of this? It's just your Advil Tylenol. Just as effective. So my point with this is I know that when I go out into the public and I'm meeting with someone, it could be the difference between their life their livingness or lack thereof. So I'm okay to push their buttons a little bit. I really am, you know, and I don't mean it to be offensive. I just know that like this is their opportunity. That I could be their opportunity that could alter their life for the rest of their life. You know, and if you guys have that mindset, you see how you could schedule a ton of people because you're literally out there saving lives. Case managers, you're saving lives. Front desk, you're saving lives. It's just not the provider saving lives. It's everyone in the office is saving someone's life because basically you're doing it from a natural perspective. You're getting their body to function better. They're avoiding taking a prescription. They're avoiding potentially having surgery. The most dangerous place on the planet is a hospital. And that's just a fact. Okay. I mean, how many of you trust the health community less post-COVID? Everyone's like, right? Right? So I'm just saying that, you know, like I'm okay to push the buttons a little bit. I'm not doing this to be liked. I'm doing this to make an effect. I'm doing this to help people because at the end of the day, your abundance comes down to the number of people you serve. I don't care what position or job you have. The number of people you serve, it comes back to you. You guys have all heard what you give is what you get. So the more you give, the more you get. Does that make sense? Okay. So it's I didn't mean to get off on a tangent there, but I mean, it's good. I'm glad you asked that question because when you teach this stuff after a while, it kind of gets a little bit dry and it's just like you're just kind of going through the motions. But at the end of the day, why are we doing it? You know, we're doing it to actually help people. You got to have the purpose. Exactly. You got to have the purpose. Just like as a case manager, your empathy. Need to take a break at 3. I'm sorry. I thought it was 3:30. Thank you for letting me know. Everything starts with purpose. Purpose supersedes everything, you know? And so when you start off with a high level of purpose, then it's then your effect, the results that you guys get are going to be tenfold. Okay. So case manager, what's your valuable final product? What's your purpose? You know, as a front desk person, what's your purpose? What's your valuable final product? As a provider, as the doctor, what's your valuable final product? You got to know what those things are, like so granular, so detailed, knowing what your beingness is. And I'm going to end with this because I guess we got to take a break. Your beingness, if I take, and for the providers in here, you may have seen this before, but if I take a chiropractor seeing 400 visits a week, okay, in this office, and I take this office where a chiropractor is seeing 150 a week, and if I were to take these two people and unplug them and move them to the offices, the guy or gal that goes into the 150 that's seeing 400 is going to build that practice up like that because their beingness is at that 400 level. That person who is seeing, 150 goes into a 400 and they're going to tank that office because it's their knowledge base, but it's what's in here. It's their beingness. Does that make sense? So we want to work on our beingness of who we are in our positions, whether it's front desk, case manager, provider. Start with the why and the purpose, and then things just kind of take off. Okay. All right. So we're going to.
Keep going. Start with the confusion. Keep ripping, Gary. You're on a roll.
All right. So you're a step ahead of them. All right. Any questions on that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Purpose driven, big office, big impact. And it helps everybody. Like, when you look at, the doctors here in the room, they got into chiropractic to help and serve people and to love people and to help as many people as they possibly could. And it's they want to have a bigger impact. But I can tell you as a business owner and as a chiropractor, the staff who are productive and helping me with my vision and mission, guess what? They always got paid more and they always got bonused more. They had more opportunity, because what's that? It's a big game. Yeah, it's a big game. And I want everyone to win because if my staff are winning, then I'm winning. So my intention is like you guys, like, I want you to realize like to be sitting in this room where you have owners who have, some of you have flown in, some of you drove in, but they're investing in your future to learn this stuff. They're investing in you so that you can have a bigger, brighter future because you should be getting paid based on some type of base pay plus commission, and bonused out based on your production. And that's very important to do that because your morale is based on production. You guys know that, right? Production is the basis of morale. I tell you what, on Sundays, if I get my whole honeydew list done, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm not feeling good if I don't have my honeydew list done, right? And you guys have all done that before, right? Like if you have a bunch of stuff that you have to do, when you get it done, you feel good. You have a sense of accomplishment. When you don't get things done, you don't feel great. You're in a slow office, it's not busy, the energy's low, right? Your office gets bustling and it's busy, energy goes up, the day goes by really fast. It's like, that's what we're here for. We're here to help to serve each other. Going back to B12s, I guess. I know you're here for your B12 today, but we do have a screening available here. Oh, we were over that. Okay, stress survey template. So just to kind of give you an idea, you can go to the bit.ly link, you get the stress survey. You always want to have these filled out before you do any type of screening, whether it's B12, massage, pamper vent, a lunch and learn. I always have a survey filled out at a lunch and learn. Everyone fills out a survey, and I go over that survey during the lunch and learn. I'll do literally a group day one in a lunch and learn. I tell you what, you want to schedule a lot of people very quickly. Lunch and learns will bring in people faster than any other event. Pamper event, health fair. Because if I get in front of 50 people, I'll get 50% of the room booked. Okay, so in an hour, you can get 25, 30 people scheduled for an exam. So on the stress survey, I'll just get name, number, but really I'm on these middle columns. I want to know like about any headaches, neck, mid back, low back, sciatica, leg, any carpal tunnel, problems sleeping, wrist, foot, menstrual, asthma, digestive problems, pain between the shoulders. I want this section filled out right in through here. And then I just put, if you could get rid of one of these concerns, which one would it be? I want to know which one is their chief complaint area so I can hone in on that area. Okay. All right, station 2. The screener should introduce themselves, explain the purpose of the screening, and show the attendees the results. Hi, Gary. It looks like you had headaches for 20 years. That's no good. What I'm going to do is a quick measurement to see if it could possibly be coming from your spine. So this machine measures the electrical activity in the muscles. If your neck isn't functioning properly, we're going to see problems. Do the screening. Okay, we're all done on this computer screen. White is normal, green is mild, blue is moderate, red severe. Gosh, Gary, you're lit up like a Christmas tree. You have severe issues up in your neck here. What we have found is that the number one reason for headaches is actually a neck problem, and there's definitely some issues there. If you could find out what's causing that, would you want to? Okay, that right there. What do you think? What percentage of time do you think someone says they want to find out what's going on? It's like 100%. It's like super high. Okay, who doesn't want to find out what's going on? And you don't know what's going on with them yet. Is it just a muscle issue? Do they have a disc problem? Do they have a nerve problem? Do they you don't know what they have yet? Do they have a hypolordosis? Do they have a degenerative condition? Like you don't know yet. So, this is why this script could be muscle, bone, nerve, or disc. Don't know, but you have a problem. Whether you're palpating it, seeing it on a scan. Okay. The closer script should focus on scheduling your offer to have the prospective patient come into the office, confirm the attendee's availability, and schedule the evaluation accordingly. Use your standard new patient scheduling dialogue for this. This is covered in detail on TBA's marketing course certification. Station 3, this is where the nurse can do the injection and upsell to anything else on the menu before the injection. Okay. So scale of 1 to 10 so far, how valuable is this? 10, just good stuff? It's really good. Okay, good. I thought you had a question. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you guys, this is like, get out in your community. Okay. Final thoughts. B12 and breakfast events and scripting are great ways to generate revenue, promote your practice, and communicate effectively with the attendees. Take advantage of the market opportunities and hire a marketer. I'm telling you, a marketer will always pay. Think about it. Let's do the numbers again real quickly. Let's just say you did one event a week. You brought 5 people in, just 5 people. And half of them show. Just 3 come in. Okay. let's say you have a 60% closing rate, 70% closing rate. So 2 people start care. It's an average care plan of, 5,000. Oh, what is your average care plans? What do you guys, 2,500, 3,000, 4,000, 2,700, 10, 15. You guys do something different over there. Okay, so let's just take 3,000. Let's go low. That's $6,000 a week. That's $24,000 that you've added in a month. That's $320,000 you added in a year. Can you hire a $40,000 marketer? It's just do the numbers, guys. Do the numbers. Heck, if I wanted to hustle, I would actually just go into an office and say marketing. I'll say, hey, you pay me per head, that I bring in. Because I'll bring in so many people, like it's just you'll have to hire staff, But it's a way that you can greatly increase your income and help and serve more people. And they need you guys. They need you guys. They're not going anywhere else. They don't want to go to hell. They don't want to go, to their doctors half the time anymore because there's a lack of, would you guys agree there's a lack of trust in the environment now? There's a lack of trust, right? You have to establish trust in the environment. You got to get out there. Remember to use the Doctors for Health and Wellness to get to the decision maker and bridge between stations to effectively schedule appointments. So who is not part of Doctors for Health and Wellness? If you're not a part of it, contact Cindy. It's $100 membership, I believe, for the year. It's in the Bitly link, but you can see Cindy before you leave and you can sign up for that. You'll get a whole onboarding packet and you can now be part of a nonprofit group and get a .org email so that, anytime you're communicating with the public, they're seeing you coming through as a nonprofit. And you're giving your stuff away for free, right? You're just donating to the community. Everything covered in the video can easily translate to booking, performing, and scheduling new patients from the employee massage pamper events and corporate lunch and learns. All right. We're going to break in like 3 minutes, but when we come back from the break, the slides that we have up here are not the most ideal for a lunch and learn, but I'm going to give you kind of a gist of what it looks like and what I would do and how I would increase if I was doing a lunch and learn, how I would increase the tone level of a group and get everyone excited to come in to get checked out. Doing lunch and learns, employee pamper events, and corporate health fairs are just as advantageous. It follows the same workflow as gone over in this presentation and can be booked with local companies in your area as well. Details and scripting for this are covered in your CBA marketing course certification. Next, we're going to go do a live corporate. So, I'm not going to do it live 100%. I will go through slides and I will role play what I would be doing, but I'll also kind of be directing a little bit of what I'd be thinking, what I'm thinking while I'm doing it. So you get that flow to it. Okay. Any questions? Okay. I think, is this a 30-minute break or 30-minute break? So at 3:45, we're going to take an hour and 15 at that time. And I'll give you an example of a lunch and learn. Awesome. All right, let's do it. Home stretch.
Do it.
All right.
Finish that text. Get that Instagram drop.
Home stretch.
Get started.
Vamonos.
Want to finish that? Thumbs down. Go. Here, the floor is yours.
Awesome. All right, here we go. So, as I was mentioning earlier, we're just going to do kind of an example like lunch and learn, but I'm not going to do it like to the T. I'm going to take some time to explain the slides to show you the importance of the slides instead of just doing it, because there's just a few little things like here and there that you want to implement that's going to increase your show percentage and your sign up rate. So this is one of the topics you can do. You can do. Yes, sir.
Before I forget, one quick announcement. So if you're watching at home or you're here in the room, no need to record any of this on your own phone. No need to record any of this on your own phone. Try to screen share your screen at home. This is all being streamed and will be recorded and edited. and available on the website within the next month. This presentation. So you can, if you want immediate access to it on your phone, but realize, we're going to have access to this on the website for you guys within a few weeks or a month to review. So you can just sit back, enjoy it, absorb it, and of course, ask any questions along the way.
Okay, good. So just some preliminary things here. So basically, when I go out and do lunch and learn, I always take the number of staff as there are the number of doors in the room. And the reason being is that I want a staff member posted at every door to collect surveys and to get people scheduled on their way out. Okay, so if I had an office that had, like this one has 2 doors, I'd have 2 staff with me right now. I always, just a couple of things that I think are important when does anyone have an issue of speaking in public? One of the best things you can do if you do have an issue is like go early, meet people, introduce yourself to people, shake everyone's hand, thank you for being there. Then when you actually do start talking, you at least met them once already. It just calms things down a little bit. Have a survey, make sure they fill out a survey before you get started, or, at least have them filling out as you get started. In any case, I always like to start things off on a lighter note. So in order to get maximum value out of this workshop, all that is required is that we tell the truth and what's going on with our workstations and our health. This is based on doing a ergonomic one. So I do something of this nature. If we talk about the problems and opportunities, we can do something to improve conditions, which I believe we all want. I always had this come up in a bulleted format. So now I have to test your honesty. So let's try this out. How many of you, when you were thinking about coming into the seminar this morning, were so excited that you can't wait to get here? Show of hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just get interaction with the group, okay? That's the other thing too. Get people raising their hands, get interaction with the group. I'd hit the button, the next line would come up. How many of you were interested? Just a little bit, Then I go, how many of you felt it's okay, I'll go, but if they called it off, that'd be okay too. It's just kind of like an honesty thing. It's to lighten the mood a little bit, all the way down to how many of you aren't awake yet and need another cup of coffee, kind of thing. It's just, again, it's light, it's fun. It's just to get, get some good interaction going. Then I just hit the purpose. So the purpose of this workshop is to provide you with ways in which to attain abundant energy, help you understand how that information is relevant to your health in everyday life, and then show you how you can apply the information as to live a more vibrant and a healthier life. So at this point in time, around now is when I'll just review the survey. So for those of you who filled the survey, I want you guys to, we've just done the honesty thing. So when you look at your survey, how many of you have anything going on in the first column? You had neck, arm, we had different symptoms, right? Show of hands, how many of you had that going on? Okay. Then I go column 2, and I'll list off column 2, all the different things that were the conditions in column 2. Show of hands, how many of you have that going on? Column 3, I'd list off the conditions in column 3. How many of you had that going on? Okay, then now how many of you had at least 2 or 3 things going on? Raise your hand. Keep them up. Up, 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 up. Look around. Okay, I want you to see. Usually with all those symptoms, 90% of the room, their arms will be raised. So I want you to understand that this is a common problem, but doesn't mean it's normal. Okay, so your body is telling you something's not right. So if I could find you, if I could help you, today to reduce some of these issues in a natural, affordable way, would you want that? Raise your hand. The people that raise their hand right now, I know are the ones who are scheduling, and I'm only 5 minutes into it. Okay. Now, and then the rest of this, however you want to put this together, it's just, you're just educating. I would also, like, Ethan put this together, and I came in last night and I didn't qual it. So when I looked at it this morning, I was like, oh, this isn't going to work, because you want these down to 30 minutes. There's an hour, more than an hour's worth of slides in here. And I took like 20 slides out. You've got to keep this tight. If you're going in for lunch and learn, you only have lunchtime. So if you keep it to about 30 to 40 minutes, now you got 20 minutes to answer questions and schedule. If you go the full hour, guess what? They're bustling out of there to get back to work. Okay. So what's your vision? What do you want to accomplish? What does your success look like? Like, what are your goals? Like, spend some time, like personal, professional, financial goals, right? And at the end of the day, what does it have to do with what has to be there for you to be able to do all of that, right? It's got to be your health. So we're gonna put our attention on how important this health thing is, right? what would be your number one thing that has to be there in order to achieve your vision, right? You got to be healthy, right? Have you guys all heard that before? Like, if you don't have your health, you don't really have anything, right? I mentioned this in the other room before, multiple times before, right? Yeah. How many of you have ever seen a U-Haul behind a hearse? Never, right? It's like, you're not taking anything with us, right? We're not taking anything with us. So basically, the point is like, obviously, if we don't take care of us, nothing else really matters. So who's in charge of that? Is obviously everyone in here, right? You guys are in charge of your health. So how do you define health? So we got exercise, eating healthy, healthy weight, manage stress levels. How many people here believe that health is defined by how you look and how you feel, right? And you just, again, get interaction. As a doctor, I believe that how we look and how we feel is the main reason why we have health chaos in this country. So here's the thing too, like, you don't have to know this stuff verbatim. You can read the slide, just engage with the audience and ask questions and stuff. So you don't have to have any of this stuff memorized. So let's look at what's going on in our healthcare right now today, right? 1 in 2 people will get cancer. 1 in 4 people will die from cancer. 1 in 10 people will get heart disease. 1 in 4 people will die of heart disease. How do those numbers seem? It's pretty high, right? How about diabetes? The 6th leading cause of death in the United States. 1 in 3 people will get diabetes during their lifetime. Okay. Well, we are not healthy as a country, and it's directly related to our belief systems about health and how our bodies work. So is what we're doing working, right? If 1 in 2 people have heart disease, 1 in 4, actually 1 in 2 are getting cancer, and you can recite those numbers, but are we really a healthy country? When we have all that stuff going on. Leading cause of death, heart disease. 2nd leading is cancer. 3rd being our own medical system, et cetera, et cetera. Also, what our office does. Okay, so this workshop is not just about creating abundant energy, but it's also about the principles of health and the healing that are universal. Also, what our office does and why it works, right? So we're looking to create a paradigm shift in how people view health, right? Definition of a paradigm is how we view the world. How I was raised, my upbringing. For instance, how and maybe give a little story about how you were raised. I was raised, by a nurse. We had a pill for every ill, right? You had a pill for everything. Even you got shaking leg syndrome. Now you got a pill for that, right? Because your leg twitches at night when you sleep. Whatever. I mean, there's something for everything, right? Were you raised similar to this, based on how we are doing as a country? Is this working? Like, were you guys raised similar to how I was raised? If you were, is that we're falling into that category of a sickness culture, right? So we're trying to change their paradigm. To be really healthy, a new paradigm must be adopted. So how many of you would like to learn a new way of health so that you're not part of this system? So what you're doing is you're bashing the current system a bit, which is really easy to do these days. It doesn't take much, okay? And more now than ever, people understand that. When you have these conversations, it's no longer a debate on whether our healthcare system works or not. It doesn't, and people agree with that. So they already agree with you, okay? They just don't know who you are. Can you get sick or get cancer if you are functioning 100%? Okay? New paradigm, a new way to look at health, right? So your body is composed of more than 10 trillion cells. Each cell performs thousands of functions daily. When these cells are performing their function properly in coordination with the needs of the rest of the body, you have health. To be healthy, all the systems of the body must be working 100% and be in coordination with each other. Okay. Even without symptoms, your body can have diabetes, heart disease, cancer, the beginnings of arthritis, etc., as a result of the systems in your body not functioning properly. The brain and the nervous system have the responsibility of controlling the trillions of functions that occur throughout all the organs and tissues in your body each day. So this is where we get into more structure, right? So the 3 main things that we focus on from a health standpoint, obviously, right, is your nervous system, right? Exercise and nutrition are the top 3 things that we have to focus on from a health standpoint. So we get into breaking down the nervous system a bit. So what organ of the body, and so normally these slides would come up, you're clicking them and things come up as they go. Canva just puts everything out there all at once kind of thing. But I'd ask, so what organ is in control of all the organs and tissues of the body? We get and you know what you'll hear more often than not? Heart. Yeah. So again, you're educating. I mean, think about that for a second. How many of you thought, and this isn't how many of you thought the heart controls everything in the body? Anyone? Okay, good. I mean, that's scary out there. I mean, it's like 8th grade. I'm telling you, you have to communicate with people on an 8th grade level. So the brain, how does your brain accomplish this? It orders and replacement of damaged cells. It coordinates interactions between different body parts. It relates information to different areas, and it controls the healthy function of every area. A great thing to do at this point in time is just if you have a whiteboard, just draw what I do is I draw a sperm and an egg on the board, and they know what that is. And then I say, and they do when I say, okay, where did you come from? And they'll be just to be like, I don't know, Tampa, no. Okay, you came from a sperm and an egg, right? So like you won the very first race that you were ever in. And then what I do is in that sperm and egg, I just start to scribble it out and I make a brain. I say, so the first organ that develops in embryo is what? It's your brain. And then from your brain, your spinal cord develops. And from your spinal cord, the nerves grow out, right? And those nerves do what? They make everything in your body, right? And at the end of the nerves, they make your heart, make your lungs, it makes, your skin, it makes, every major organ, your liver, your spleen, right? And this system is so important that it protects itself. So it created a skull, and I'll use a different color marker, and I'll draw a skull around the brain. And then it made 24 movable bones to go around your spinal cord nerve to protect it. It's the only organ in your body that has a skeleton system around it to protect it. It's how important that system is. In fact, it's so important that let's just look at it from this perspective. How long could you live without food? Weeks? For like me, maybe 30 days. I got some fudge, right? I got some little extra. You laughing, Andrea? I think you're 5 weeks. Then it's just how long could you live without let's see here, without water? 2-3 days, right? How about oxygen? 2 or 3 minutes, right? I mean, if you hold your breath, your body kicks in and you pass out and you start breathing again, right? But let's say if you're a deep sea pearl diver, maybe 6-7 minutes, 8 minutes. Okay. Now, if I was to actually cut the communication from your brain, your body, how quickly would you be alive? How long would you live? Seconds, right? It's instant. If you go above C3, C2, lights out, done, instant. It's the most important system in the body. Okay. And then what I would do is I talk about structure. So it's so important that you got 24 movable bones. And when you look at it from straight on, it should be straight up and down. If I look at it from the side, it should have 3 curves. And these nerves go to all these different parts of your body. And so for those of you who had problems on your survey, I go back to the survey. If you're checking off head, neck issues, guess what? We're going to look at this area of your spine. If you had problems with your back or legs or anything, we're going to look at this area. Okay. So we're connecting health to spinal function and nervous system function. So how does the brain conduct information? So I did a little bit, that's what I would do. It's not on these slides. How does the brain conduct information? What is running through the nerves? Electricity. If you have a wire with electricity running through it, can you interrupt the flow of this electricity? And of course, it's yes, right? Some estimates are that spinal cord is transmitting 17 trillion messages at any given moment. That's how much information is going through your nervous system, okay? So how is the nervous system protected, right? We talked about this, right? The brain is encased in almost completely bone. The spinal cord is encased by individual bones called vertebrae, which provide flexibility. Why is the system so protected? We kind of already discussed that. We talk about the movement of the vertebra. A healthy spine has vertebrae which are lined up properly and can move. They are not stuck. What happens if one or more vertebra moves each in an inch into the spinal cord? What's going to happen? You're asking questions. You're wanting people to just relate that if my spinal column is not functioning properly, my body's not going to function properly. You just want them to cognite that. Okay. Why is this important? Bless you. Your brain controls the healthy function of every cell, tissue, and organ in your body. If you have vertebrae that are out of alignment or not moving properly, it causes interference to the nerves. This results in decreased health. So if your spine's not lining up properly, it decreases your overall ability to move, bend, and twist. And it also interferes with how your nervous system functions. This misalignment also causes degenerative conditions, so arthritis. How many of you guys have heard of arthritis? How many of you have arthritis? You know, you can bring models to show what arthritis looks like. Okay. So very important. Health is not the absence of symptoms, but rather is a body that has all of its symptoms functioning at 100%. Now I'm going super fast through this, but I just want you to get the point. It's just an educational platform. There's way too many slides in here. I'm just kind of hitting the high points. Okay. Now, if I could show you today how to detect and get rid of your problems naturally and affordably, will you take action to make yourself healthier? Again, I'll ask that a couple times. I'm looking for those hands to go up because I know those are the ones we're going to schedule. And guess what? My staff are trained to look at that. They're seeing the people, they're watching the people who are raising their hands because they're going to go specifically towards them to schedule them. Okay. So what is the definition? So now what Ethan did when he put this together, there's two different presentations in one. There's some slides in here that are for like how to stay fit while you sit, and there's some slides in here on abundant energy. So we're kind of all over the place, but you guys getting the gist of this? It's just education, bringing up awareness. I want them raising their hand. I want them interactive. And then I will do a group. So you see how I did a group consultation? I went over each column of the survey. It's a quick survey on what's going on, right? It's a quick consultation. I'm also going to do a quick exam. And this is what makes it really fun, especially if you're doing for ergonomics. It brings the tone level way up. I'm actually going to go. Okay. Once I've gone and explained the nervous system and the spinal column and how important it is, I'll do some physical performance tests. I'll be like, okay, listen to everyone. We're gonna test you right now to see if you have any of this stuff going on. So what I'm gonna have you do is we're gonna check your movement, your ability to move and bend your neck. So what I want you to do is I want you to actually bring your ear to your shoulder as far as you can to the to your right or left, whatever, right. And just have everyone in the group do it. Okay, now do it to the other side. Okay, now come back to neutral. How many of you noticed the difference? I'm looking for hands. You're gonna see hands start to pop up. Actually, just do this right now. Bring your right ear to your shoulder as far as you can. Just do it all the way. Now go to the other side, all the way. Notice how far you go. How many of you notice the difference? Legitimately. Look at the hands popping up. Okay, see what I'm saying? They're going to see it. Okay, now I want you to look over your shoulder. Look over your right shoulder as far as you can. And now come back to neutral. And go over your left shoulder as far as you can. Come back to neutral. How many of you notice the difference? Raise your hand. You're going to see that. Okay. You can do ruse tests. With ruse tests, is hands up in the air, right? You're just, you're seeing your fingers go numb after all, like 60 seconds. Now we say, hey, you're on Canon camera, kind of thing. Everyone in the room's like, you get everyone standing. You can do balance testing is a really fun one. Go ahead and stand up real quickly. I know there's not a lot of room here, but hold on to each other if you have to. But we're gonna do a quick balance test. So what I want you guys to do is you're gonna go up on your right leg. I want you to balance on your right leg. Just go ahead and just bring your leg up and hold it there. If you have to hold on to something, fine, but try to balance. Okay. Okay. Now notice how long you're going. Now go to your left. Okay. And you have them do that for a little bit. Then you say, any difference from side to side? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now do this time. We're going to close eyes. You're going to balance in one leg. Now what I want you to do is make sure you grab onto something. We don't want no one falling, but I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Okay. Okay. Now open them. Go to the other side. Go to the left side. Okay. Close your eyes. Okay. Now, how many of you felt like the American flag on a windy day when you close your eyes? Okay. You can sit down. Do you see how that just brought the tone level of the group up, and we're just kind of role playing that? It really helps with the tone level of the group. But what are you testing when you're balancing from one side to the next? There's different things, right? I mean, if you have a pelvic unleveling, will your balance be off? If you have a lumbar spine issue, would your balance be off? If you've had a foot injury or knee injury, could your balance be off, right? Muscular imbalances. Now, what are you testing when you close your eyes? Yeah. Proprioception, where are you in space? What part of your brain controls that? Yeah. And where the nerve endings that feeds that area come from where? Where's 90 to 80, 89% of the nerves that stimulate that vestibular system come from where? The cervical spine, lower cervical spine. So guess what? When your balance is way off, a lot of times it's a cervical spine problem, it's a neck problem. What happens as we age? What do you see a lot of people start to do when they start to lose their proprioception? They fall, but what do they start doing? Head forward postures, right? Hands are out in front of them. It's like someone turned off the lights, right? So it's like there's early signs, you know? So that's a fun test to do. You can do pelvic instability, you can do balance testing, but basically what you're doing is like, listen, how many of you had two or three things going on with your survey? Raise your hand. How many of you just failed some tests, right? It's like, okay, you guys are already failing these tests. It's like, I already know you have a problem. You know you have a problem, you know? And so I'm literally just, again, increasing their awareness that they need to come in and get checked out, okay? So to me, the number one lecture to go out there and do is an ergonomic lecture. And something on ergonomics or how to stay fit while you sit, because everyone is sitting for a living. The abundant energy one is so-so. This is maybe a follow-up talk. Like they like your first talk so much that they want you to come back and you can talk on this stuff. But the rest of this is, just informational based. Although a structured regular exercise, so you can talk about exercise if you want, right? So although a structured regular exercise program would be best, you can achieve most of your health goals by simply walking 20, 30 minutes per day. Okay. In fact, a recent study followed 40,000 postmenopausal women for 7 years. Those who regularly engage in moderate exercise had a 41% lower death rate than those who did not exercise. And we're just talking about, motion is life. We want to get moving. But so, and that kind of correlates, it does correlate with your spine, right? Keep it moving. It's going to last longer. Okay, lastly, the function 100% is to give your body a nutrition it needs on a daily basis. So we're talking three things in this talk. We're talking nervous system function, we're talking exercise, we're talking nutrition. All of us have heard that you must consume enough fresh vegetables and fruits every day. Why is that? You go over some studies. Nutritional needs have changed drastically in the last century due to the amount of stress. We're under the amount of pollution in our environment and the fact that our soil has become depleted, causing our foods to lack the same amounts of nutrients that they once contained. The accumulation of stress and pollution and lack of nutrients results in the formation of an enemy of the body called free radicals. Over time, free radicals destroy the cells of your body. Okay. And when we have free radicals, it does stuff like this. Right? It causes wrinkles, right? Can create arthritis in the joints. Okay. When free radical damage occurs, you also create the pathways that lead to cancer and such diseases as Alzheimer's. So again, we're educating. This is why it's important to eat properly. Vegetables and fruits are a primary source that contain the micronutrients that can destroy free radicals. You can also, if you have any type of nutritional product lines, bring them to your talk. This is when you can introduce, like if you do like greens first or, some type of, powdered vegetables or whatever, you can introduce that type of stuff. Scientific studies confirm this. These studies conclude that we should consume a minimum of 5 to 8 servings of fresh fruits and greens, vegetables per day. Answer is pretty simple, and you can, promote whatever product that you're pushing if you are pushing one. Okay. Now, in addition to fruits and vegetables, you must consume enough complete proteins to give your body the necessary building blocks that needs to repair tissue, grow during youth, and have a properly functioning immune system. Okay, then you can also get into adrenal fatigue. This is another, most people fail these tests in our culture. So you can actually get into adrenal fatigue. What is adrenal fatigue? At the simplest level, adrenal fatigue is caused by the inability of your adrenal glands to cope with stress. What are the major causes of adrenal fatigue? You got emotional stresses, right? Relationships, unreasonable boss, relocation to a new city, etc., right? Some symptoms of adrenal fatigue. Difficulty getting up each morning, even after a long sleep. High level of fatigue each day. Inability to handle stress. Craving for salty foods. Higher energy levels in the evening. A weakened immune system. Digestive disorders. So you can do tests. This is another popular thing to do in a group, is just do some adrenal fatigue tests. You can do Ragland's tests. We're not, you can do pupillary reflex tests, and you can do Sargent's white line test. You can do any three of those tests in the group, and people get kind of blown away by it. So a fun one to do is just, I wouldn't do all three. I just pick one. Your pupillary reflex test is if you shine a light in someone's eye, you know, what should happen to the eye? If you constrict, how long should that constriction hold? I'm sorry? No, it'll blow out after about 10, 15 seconds. But what you'll find, if someone has adrenal fatigue, the people will constrict, but within 2 to 3 seconds, boom, it pops out again. It's a sign of, it's a positive sign for adrenal fatigue. Ragland's test, you guys remember what Ragland's test is? Blood pressure, take seated, then you take the blood pressure standing. What should happen? It should go up, right? So if you stand and the blood pressure drops, adrenal fatigue. Okay. Sargent's white line test. This test was designed by Dr. Sargent many years ago to test the adrenal strength of tuberculosis patients. Those with stronger adrenal glands fared better with the disease. The reason why I hit adrenal, like if you have like nutritional, so this is such a major problem. Like if you sell nutritional support, like adrenal support, you'll sell so much of this stuff doing these tests because most people will be positive for adrenal fatigue. So need just a fork to do this test. One scratches the surface of the inner forearm on one side of and firmly puts gently, but gently for about 6 inches with the fork or similar objects. The scratch areas will turn white. If the lines turn red within 15 to 20 seconds, it indicates the adequate adrenal activity. If the lines turn red sooner, it can indicate excessive adrenal activity or fast oxidation rate. If the line stays white for 20 to 30 seconds or more, it can indicate sluggish adrenal activity. Okay. So easy test that you can do in a group, and it makes it fun. Like when you guys all stood up, wasn't that kind of like, it's different? Everyone was kind of giggling a little bit. It just brings the energy up in the room. Okay. So in summary, let's look at what we covered. We covered what's true health. So you just always do a recap, right? The top 3 things a person must do to function at 100% and have abundant energy. And what is adrenal fatigue? What can I do if I have adrenal fatigue? Again, I'm going to preface this. There's like 3 talks in one that Ethan put in this slideshow. Okay. Now, I always test the group. So everything is coming up here all at the same time, but you wouldn't see this. I would say, so let's just review everything that we covered, right? And you want to have fun. This is where you can have like little widgets or gadgets you bring from your office and you give away if they answer something right. Like you can bring a cervical pillow, or you can bring a stress ball, you know, some pens with your name on it, whatever, right? But for one to achieve or really have anything, what must one have? And none of the blue will be showing up. And I'll ask the group that. And whoever answers it right, I'll throw them something. You know, and then it starts getting everyone engaged, right? All right, great. So what's the leading cause of death in this country? Okay. Then I'll get into like what organs control all the functions of the body. So just recapping. Again, the more engagement that you have with the group, the better results you're going to have. What are the 3 things necessary for optimal health and abundant energy? Okay. We talked about proper nerve flow. Okay. What, you know, we know that the brain controls everything in the body. We know that proper nerve flow is dependent on what? Structure, right? We talked about how important exercise is. We talked about nutrition. How many servings of fruits and vegetables should you have? You know, so it's yeah, walking for how long can greatly help your overall health. You know, 20 to 30 minutes a day kind of thing, right? How many servings of fruits and vegetables? What supplements can one take to ensure that one is getting enough fruits and vegetables? What organs can become exhausted with stress? So again, it's just asking questions to the group. Okay. Now, how I end it and do a recap is basically I get into, so if you fail any of these tests or suffer from 2 or more of the symptoms in your survey. So how many of you had 2 or more symptoms in the survey? Get people to raise their hand. You're going to see most of the room hands go up. Okay. How many of you failed any of the tests that we did? You failed the test on like range of motion, or you failed the balance testing, or maybe you had an adrenal test that was positive. How many of you failed those tests? Hands pop up, right? It indicates that you have a problem. Okay. And I just do a quick pebble in the shoe analogy. So now this is especially if you're doing, if you're wanting the ergonomic, we have a very specific ergonomic talk. If you're interested in that, just contact Cindy, and you know, she'll get that for you. But this is very powerful for the ergonomic talk. So if I go over this and then I say, so let's give you an analogy. If you're walking in the park and you have a pebble in your shoe, you know, how many of you would sit down on a park bench and, you know, pull out of your handbag or pocket a couple Advil, pop them, and then start walking again? Anyone do that? And everyone does it. You start laughing. It's like, what? No. Exactly, right? You have a functional problem. Like, what would you do? You'd take the pebble out. You'd sit down, take your shoe off, take the pebble out, put your shoe back on, start walking again. You remove the physical problem. You know, those of you who had symptoms in column 1, 2, and 3 and failed tests, you have a physical problem. There is no chemical solution for that. There is no chemical solution for a physical problem. Does anyone know of one? I don't know of one. Doesn't exist, right? So again, I mean, you're kind of like getting them to like wake up a little bit. Like, what are you know, why are we just drugging everything? Okay. So you know, so you just go, so I have a gift for you. So the gift basically is I do a complimentary evaluation. 4 reasons to get checked. There's 4 reasons to get checked. And I wouldn't have these all come up at the same time. 1 is problems get worse as time goes on. Okay. 2, if you get rid of your health problems, you would not only be healthier, but also happier. Happiness is what life is all about, right? 3, we won't waste your time or money. Okay. And 4, you have nothing to lose. Okay. So if you could find out what's going on, you got failed tests, you got symptoms. If you find out what's going on, would you want to? Raise your hand. Perfect. Now my staff are looking to see who's raising their hand, and that's who they're going to go to and schedule. Okay. Then I'll do 2 other things from here. I'll say, hey, we want to help as many people as we possibly can in our community. Who else would you know? If on your survey, maybe you write in the back, if you'd like us to go talk to your church, if maybe your spouse or your significant other has a company you'd like us to go to, give us their name and numbers. We'll reach out to them. We do these complimentary because we're part of a nonprofit group, Doctors for Health and Wellness. And our intention is to help as many people as we can. And so we appreciate your referrals. And then I go into like a Q&A session. And as I'm doing a Q&A session, staff are going around scheduling. Okay. Now I blew through that super fast just because the slides are all jacked up. I couldn't do it the way I would normally do it. There's too many flow issues. But questions on a lunch and learn and the flows of it. Yes.
You recommend
No, you can have, you don't have to be the doctor to do that. You know, you can have a staff member trained up on the slide presentation, and you're just an educator. You're just educating them on what's going on. So yeah, good question. Other questions? You guys on full today already? Yeah.
are the people
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I didn't do I was gonna do just like, hey, here's how you actually do it, but the slides weren't adequate. But that's really powerful because what you're doing is especially on the ergonomic one, you're just increasing awareness. You're literally doing a day 1, you're doing a consultation and an evaluation to the group. When you're having them raise their hand on surveys, on symptoms that they have, and you're having them stand up and do different tests, it brings the group consciousness up. That's such an easy one to schedule a majority of the room when you're doing that. Okay. Any other questions on anything we've covered this afternoon, or else we'll change topics. We can go over anything you guys want. We've got, yes, sir.
You take any down payments for some of the-
Yeah, I would. You could. You could. It depends on the company.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be going back, no. If it's a one and done place, I'd rather take money to have a higher show rate. Yeah. Yeah. The question was, would you take a down payment for people coming in scheduling? That you're always going to have a higher show rate when you're taking money. But if you're really good at what you're doing, you don't necessarily have to do that. If you're bringing up the group tone, but if you want to have that higher show rate, then yeah, collect money. Yeah, it's like a screening, $20, or they can donate money. You can have a charity. You could say that, the Doctor for Health and Wellness is paired up with the Red Cross. And so all your, the money that you give us today, go to your appointment, we're actually donating to the Red Cross. Okay. Other questions? Yep.
There is
There's scripts for setting these up. There's scripts for actually when you're engaging with people. For the lectures themselves, there's videos of us doing them in the past that you can model and mimic. Yeah. Yes.
What if you're doing a want to learn an urgent care
Okay.
So,
I would choose my topic wisely.
yeah, you said earlier.
Well, here's the
You
thing.
can't really do that.
You got to,
You're in there.
yeah. You've got to know your audience, right?
Right.
And the thing is, I would always preface this like, I don't have a problem talking to a medical doctor about how bad our system is. They know, but I would say it in a way that they can experience it. So I'd be like, so if you were a medical doctor, I'd be like, listen, we got in to help people for the same reason. You probably became a medical doctor because you wanted to help people. I became a chiropractor to help people. We just do things a little bit differently. But would you say our healthcare system's working right now based on what you see in your environment? And I'd engage that way. I wouldn't just blast them. It'd be very light. It'd be a light gradient.
I'm an RN.
Yeah.
Most of my career was in guard.
Yeah. You lived it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know how practical.
Yeah.
But very well.
Yeah.
But, like, is there a way, have you ever gone about trying? Because I feel like there's a place for both.
There is.
And how do you go and approach medical doctors without working together?
Yeah. So if I was going to a medical office, what I would do, write this down, uschirodirectory.com, uschirodirectory.com. There are studies and there are a plethora of there's a plethora of information on that you can use, but they have not those studies, but case reviews and stuff. But they have spinal biomechanical articles on how the spine works. What I would do, because the only reason why a medical doctor does not refer to you guys is because they think that you guys, there's just chiropractors out there who can cure everything, right? They don't know, like you talk to 10 chiropractors, you ask them, what do you do? They're going to give you 10 different things, right? And so medical doctors now more than ever before want to refer to a chiropractor. They just don't know who to refer to. Like they're like, who's a good one? So you want to educate them. So I would bring scientific articles saying, I'd bring food in and say, hey, I just want to quickly review this, leave it off for you guys. But what we specialize in is spinal biomechanics, and basically when someone has back pain, 98% of the reason why they have back pain is because it's biomechanical in nature, and it goes over in this article. And it goes over in this article how chiropractic was compared to PTs and drugs, and chiropractic, did way better than these other two. And the reason why is we focus on spinal biomechanics. So I'm not going there saying, I'm going to cure their cancer. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm gonna unblock nerve flow, and that nerve is gonna, regenerate everything in its path. I don't say that kind of stuff. I talk about spinal biomechanics, something that they can relate to. Exactly. Other questions? Any questions just on event setup? This is the topic on event setup or going out and doing an event, whether it's massage pamper event, screen health. I tell you, you guys could start a health fair company. It's another company that you could start. Yeah. Or I just do it. I just buy what. The question was, is there a budget on food when you do like a lunch and learn? I just do healthy options. Like you have a mod market or a healthy food choice, local food choice. Yeah. Gosh, health fairs. So health fair is, that's okay. So how many of you heard before, if you want like, if you want to increase your, your income, you want to get side hustle, but you want to have something that branches off what you kind of similar to what you're already doing, right? Something close to it. So if you're already in the healthcare business and you're taking care of patients, you can easily get into health fairs. And, it's one employee who sets up health fairs. If you do one health fair a week, if you had, let's say, 30 vendors at this health fair and you're charging $200 per vendor, it's $6,000 a week. It's $24,000 a month that you're bringing in on doing health fairs. That doesn't include just, bringing in patients. See how easily, and there are so many people out there, like, like dentists, other medical offices, insurance agencies, natural food, places, acupuncturists, massage therapists that will buy a booth. They want to promote themselves as well. So if there's a whole system of creating a health fair, but it is something that it will bring in a lot of new patients, but it will also, it would pay for your marketer. It pays for your marketer. So you don't have to, that bill for the owners in here, you're not having to come up with that money to pay for an additional staff member. It can help with that gradient of building your business. Any other questions? Health fairs, events, massage pamper events, massage therapists. Well, if they don't have a massage therapist, you can do a couple things. One is, you can get like those hypervolts. You guys know what a hypervolt is? It's like something you plug in, charges up, and it has a little thumper on it. So you don't have to be licensed to do that. Just bring in someone who works in the office, like an admin person, or if you have a rehab in your office, like a rehab tech, and just work that gun around their spine. That's one. You could team up with a local massage therapist for cross referrals. Those are the top two things I would do.
Is there any type of business that you would?
I don't like law groups that much. Yeah, I mean, phone level is always lower. Like, yeah, they're just not the happiest people. But I always used to like going to accountants. I'd like to, I like going everywhere, but law firms are always just like, who am I dealing with, But other questions? Any questions on scripting, on getting in, using the doctor? Who's going to get Doctor of Health and Wellness? Isn't that a great way to get in? Great way to get in. Let's see what else. Anything else going on in your positions or in your practice that you want to throw out there? Any problems you're running into?
But what do you think? Men can benefit from I feel like
Yeah. I've always felt that events are the best way to build your practice quickly. Yeah, it's social media takes a lot of energy and effort and spend to get noticed, and depending on what part of the country you're in, does it work or not? How many of you have posted ads before on Facebook and it's laid an egg? Doesn't get much. And maybe some of you have done them and they work great. You could be in one part of a country. Like I've had like 8 different Facebook companies where I'm at and they've never worked. And I spoke to a marketing person not too long ago and he's like, oh, Denver's a black hole for Facebook. It doesn't work for anybody. I was like, oh, that's great to know. Eight people in, and thousands of dollars. But yeah. But I've always thought events work the best because, interaction with people, you build credibility, you build some trust, especially for massage businesses, chiropractic offices. If you're starting to get into like other services, like if you're doing like regenerative medicine stuff, that you need a different type of budget and you need a different kind of marketing for that type of stuff. That's not great for events. I'm sorry? Oh, okay. Yes, Andreas.
Idea of an event that I've been thinking over.
Sure.
So basically, one of the things that we were going to do, instead of doing like a massage pamper events, was going and doing a lunch and learn, but basically discussing like the deadlift exercise. So there's like a ton of stigma I just see all the time in my patients of like, I'm scared to deadlift. And it's just like, okay, well, you just need to learn how to do it appropriately. And so my idea was to go out and do these lunch and learns and do like almost like I did back in school with like physiology, was like a lecture lab kind of deal where we do like a lecture on like, health, fitness, and then obviously incorporate chiropractic in our office services. But then like the other half would be like going outside in my truck, like having like a barbell, having like weights, and like literally having your like get interactive, and doing the exercise and kind of just like decreasing that stigma. I guess hearing that, shot from the hip, would you see any like types of barriers, with that? Or I guess like trying to implement like both like a lecture and lab with that, like just condense both of those, or would that be too much, do you think? Or I guess I'm just asking, like, do you see any potential like hiccups with that idea? Or how would you work that through?
It's just knowing your audience. Like if you're gonna go and do deadlifts, you're obviously like CrossFit gyms or something of that nature. Are you thinking like that, or are you?
Well, I'm even thinking general population, because I'm like even like a grandmother, right? Like, I mean, I'm a firm believer that everyone should be deadlifting.
Okay.
Like, I don't care how old you are. There's ways to progress and do it. Like, obviously, you're not going to be picking up 300 pounds on the ground, but as like a grandmother, a 60-year-old, if she like learns to do this lift, like, how easy will it be for her to pick up her grandchildren?
Sure.
Right. And so I think there's a crossover and a carryover that like everyone should be doing these things. It's just like, are they though? Right. Are they going to actually put these things into action?
Yeah.
And so I don't think it would be specifically towards the CrossFit community, because they already have the coaches and they're already in the gyms. It would be more towards the general population, decreasing the stigma on this lift and this exercise. It's terrible for you. It destroys you. Like, I get patients that tell me all the time, orthopedic surgeons, you should never deadlift. And it's just like, I want to go punch them in the face. Because they have no idea what they're talking about. From that
perspective, it's just how you communicate it.
Okay.
Right. I would do that. I would do a survey. I always would do a survey, right? And then I would do stuff on like proper lifting techniques. And we're going to show you how to do a deadlift so that you can stay healthy for as long as you possibly can and maintain good function and structure and function, but it's just how you pitch it.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't seen anyone do that before. And so I just figured
Hey, I'm all game for trying something.
I was going to honestly do it at farmers markets too, to where like make it interactive and like have people,
why not
walk up and obviously fill out a stress survey, and then use the stress surveys to drip into like our nurturing campaigns via email or SMS text. Based upon their condition. So
that's great. Right behind you, Mike.
When you were saying that, I was just thinking what a great opportunity that would be to pair up with a gym. Like, if you go and do events at a gym and like host like, I don't know, MyoVision or free physical or like complimentary, some type of screening. And then you work with that gym, like, you allow me to host here and I will only suggest people to come here, or I'll, so when you're going in deadlifting and be like, if you want to upkeep this is the gym I suggest and recommend.
Sure.
Like, that could be a really cool tie of 2 different marketing like strategies.
There's a lot to be said about like grouping up with other businesses, whether it's a gym or whether it's a acupuncturist or even a dentist. when you get like 2 or 3, this is where you can get into businesses even better, is when you have 2 or 3 people going in for a lunch or something, and you're just doing a quick little, chat, or you're doing some type of a screening. But yeah, collaboration is huge. Sure. Microphone. You're fine.
So we actually do a lot based on what he's saying with the USA wrestling and
Yeah.
USA lifting,
Okay.
USA cheer, and USA football.
Yep.
So we do a lot of that because you get the coaches
Mhm.
to do like just the health information or stay healthy kind of talk.
Yeah.
The kids are there because most parents always want to protect their kids' health. So when you put it out there for the kids, the parents are there doing the information stuff. They're listening, they're learning, and they're saying, okay, I have to bring my child in just to get checked, just to make sure everything's on par. When you're explaining these things to them, we get a lot of those parents to come back, and then we get mom, dad, sister, brother, everybody kind of comes in and they do follow up a care plan.
Yeah.
But we do a lot of community events, whether it's Chamber, Pop Warner, USA, a lot of the school stuff. We do a lot of that for the community just to kind of say, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
But also because it's educating them in the health. So that's one of the things
Yeah.
that works a lot too, because we get a lot of weightlifters. And
What's your PV volume? Patient visit? How many patient visits do you see a week?
about 375 right now.
How many events do you do?
2 a week.
2 a week.
2 a week when it's not busy.
Anyone's seeing 375 visits a week right now? Okay. You guys aren't, no one else is doing 375 a week? How many visits are you seeing a week? How many events do you do? 3 months. So do you see there's a little bit of a correlation there though?
Mhm.
They're active. You guys are active, 375. Like, it's not rocket science. It's not. Like, model and mimic. The more you can model and mimic, it's already been done, right? Like, if you just model and mimic other practices that you want to be like, you'll also get to those levels. Just find out what their successful action steps are. Okay. But events work great. It helps build a practice. It gets you out in the community, and it brings more abundance. And if I was a staff member, and I was in marketing, is anyone in marketing in here? You mind me asking do you get bonus?
No, because I'm not the office manager, but when my staff goes out, I do give them incentives.
Okay, but are you on a bonus structure as an office manager? Okay, I was curious. Okay.
I wish. But not yet. We're not there yet.
Okay.
But I do give when my girls go out to do an event, they do get, whether it's $10 or every patient signs up, it shows up for the first visit, and then once the fifth visit, another $20.
Yeah. Yeah. So having incentives built in there, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Yes.
What would you suggest as what are
Yeah, a couple things on that, right? So statistically, I'm always looking at like how many NPI am I bringing into the office on a event by event or weekly basis. I would look at what my show percentage is, because that's telling me how well is my scripts, how well am I communicating. I would look at and then did you say something about compensation?
Yeah, like what would be the things?
Well, I would get a baseline for how well they're doing. And I'd always look at I want them to get at least 50% of the people they talk to schedule an appointment if they're doing an event. I used to pay per head that came in the door. So, they'd have their base pay, but then they'd also get paid per head that everyone that came in. Now, it wouldn't be a lot. It might be $1 or $2 if they came in, but if they started care, I'd bump it. It'd be worth more then, right? So I'd always be listen, I always think, so this is a general rule here, is just you always want to reward up stats and you want to penalize down stats. Okay. So it's pretty simple. Like, if you want your kids to do something a certain way, you want to reward good behavior. If they're not doing something, you don't want to reward it, right? And maybe penalize depending on what it is. But like, let's say that, I mean, if you get rewarded for doing something and you're good at it, don't you want to do more of it? And it's really like, it's gotten tough out there. I remember, 20 years ago when I was doing a lot of these events, there was a lot of production oriented people who were just really production oriented. And that's just not that way anymore. People aren't as production oriented. So you want to look for production oriented people in these positions, people who want to work off of like a base and commission. And they can do really well. I know sales is a dirty word. We always talk about it, but sales is the number one. I mean, it's the number one skill set that we should have as a people. You got to be able to sell your beliefs and your ideas to people and be able to take a position and sell someone on it. And the better skill that you have in that, the better you'll do in life. It's, to me, that's more about if it was like, if my daughters, if it was like, hey, we're going to send you to college or we're going to send you to a sales program, I would send them to a sales program. Because you guys know this already, like no one can ever take away what you learn, what you know. And when you have that skill set, man, there's nothing you can't do, because the only other requirement needed is your belief in your product. Because if you believe in your product, then you can talk about it and then you can express it to people and get people on board with whatever you're selling. And by the way, like, does anyone have a button on selling? It's okay if you do. I mean, I think most people do at some point in time. Does anyone have a button on it? What I mean by that, a problem, like, they don't like, they get, it's like the dirty word. Yeah. Just replace the word sell with help. That's all it's a help flow. Service always comes before sales. Service always comes before sales. So just, you're serving people. Replace the word sale with help. There's this, so when you're starting a business, you have to be able to deliver. So as a chiropractor, you finish school, are you able to deliver? Can you deliver your goods? Should be able to, right? You got to get new patients in and you got to help them. You got to sell them. And it's like that wheel, right? So you got to get new patients in, you got to get your flows down and your conversions in, and that's where you just start to have massive, growth. There's something on the sales I was going to mention. I lost it. Hopefully it comes back. But it's really just a help flow. Other questions on events? Anything? Okay. So I mentioned this in the other group. I mentioned it, in closing here. We've got like 14 minutes for questions. But I want you to look at, like, when you're in your office and you're building your business. I'll liken it to kind of like a little parable. So there's this old donkey that falls into a well, an old dried up well. And this donkey is, down there for some time, and it keeps looking up, looking for, anything, right? It's hee-hawing at, looking to try to get help, right? And the farmer comes down, he sees the farmer look down over into the well, and the donkey starts thinking, oh my God, yeah, I'm saved. It's like the farmer's going to help me. And the farmer leaves, and the donkey's thinking, okay, he's going to get a rope, or he's going to, bring back something to help me out, right? And the farmer comes back a little later with a shovel. And the donkey's like, why does he have a shovel? Right? And he starts to, like, dig up dirt and sand and rock and throw it into the well. And all this dirt and sand and rock is hitting the donkey in the head and the back. And the donkey is thinking, like, this mother effer, like, trying to kill me. It's like he's trying to bury me alive, right? And we all kind of have that, right? Like, I mean, don't you ever feel that way at times when, like, life, like, how many of you just feel like it's one thing after another? Oh, I'm dealing with this now. Now I got to deal with this. I got this problem. I've got this relationship issue. I've got this new patient problem. I've got, a Medicare audit. I've got, I don't know, all the things that happen in practice. I've got I got this employee that quit, or, I've got to talk to, patients about staying on care or whatever. It's always something, isn't it? And that's kind of like, an example of that dirt being shoveled in on top of you. And in essence, so the donkey's getting, frustrated by this and realizes though that if it just steps up and packs the dirt down, right, it starts rising in the well. And so that's really what problems are for us, and it's just something, it's a way to look at what the problems that you have in your practice, and it's really not problems, they're opportunities. So like when you have team meetings and stuff, I wouldn't talk about problems. I would talk about what your opportunities are, because the thing is, the stuff that keeps hitting you that you're having a problem with, the universe is going to keep sending those things your way until you figure out, I'm sorry. Yep. Yep. So it's I remember getting out of school and the docs are in the room. Do you guys remember in student clinic, how much were x-rays in student clinic? Anyone remember? You guys? Yeah, what did it cost per patient? $5, $10, $20, whatever, right? And you get out on your own. What are you charging for x-rays? Can't charge $5 or $10, right? And I remember, I'm going to charge $250 or $300, and I was having people not wanting to pay for the x-ray. And I kept getting that over and over and over again. And it wasn't until I figured out like how to handle that concern of the person's, of why they needed x-rays. But once I handled that in here, I never got that consideration again. Just went away. And how many guys have you ever noticed that before? Like the same thing will happen over and over again. And then once you learn how to confront that or deal with it, it just doesn't happen anymore. You're not even tested with it anymore. You're like a black belt in that issue. It's like you look at it, it goes away. You look at a problem, it vanishes. And so the point of that is like, just, keep stepping up. Keep stepping up, and you'll find yourself out of the well at some point in time, in a better place. You're not trapped, just by, learning from the situations that are happening around you. Okay. So as far as how to go today, was it good today? Good information? Yeah. Is everyone back tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes, no, and some no's over there. Okay. Working tomorrow? Ah, okay. Well, hopefully this was beneficial for you. You get out there and you do more events. I'm just going to, any last questions? If not, we'll break a little bit early. Any last questions? Yes. Yep. Oh, so someone on the microphone. Sorry about that.
Thank you. You mentioned going door to door to the businesses around to your business and introducing yourself. Do you recommend bringing anything, always leaving a business card or, like a menu perhaps of what you offer? Or
Sure. You can always get creative. You could bring some goodies. You could bring gimmicks. There's always different types of gimmicks. Like I mailed out stuff before with like a Band-Aid in it, and like I can't remember what the slogan behind it was, but like getting things to give to people for them to remember you by is always a good thing. And it is good. The more people the more people you can flow. Right. So it is a numbers game. That's all it is. It's just a numbers game. Okay. Any other questions? Get out and do event. Who wants to do more events? We'll do them. Yes.
You did mention like for regen medicine, because we have skilled little more out of chiropractic here, and we're more
Functional medical, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So as far as events, you did mention that there are events. Lunch and Learns wouldn't typically do that. Is there somewhere that we can utilize like some resources and events that we could actually participate?
Yeah. Okay. So for regen med stuff, higher ticket item stuff, I always like radio and TV for that type of stuff. And if I was doing radio, I'd probably look for a conservative talk show host who believes in the product. And there's ways to go about that, but just so that you see the difference in like events versus radio, I've probably spent $4 million in radio in the last 10 years. And because it works, because I know how to leverage it. And I know who to pick as my advertiser. And so I don't say that to impress anyone. I just say to impress upon you. You got to know like what is your what the service that you're delivering, what are you making on it, how much are you willing to spend to get that person in. It's just a numbers game. This is the reason why the number one to me, the number who's taking management by statistics in here. Anyone taking management by statistics? Formulas for business success. Okay, I'm going to end with this again. And I'm going to direct, this is to everyone, but owners, managers. Yeah, I mean, if you want abundant growth and freedom, you learn how to be an executive. There's 3 types of people in an organization. It doesn't matter what organization. There's the founder, the dreamer, right? There's the manager or the executive, and there's the technician. When we're over spines adjusting, we're a technician. Great thing, love it. Helps a lot of people, right? The only reason I decided to go from adjusting patients to being an executive to eventually just being a founder dreamer was because I realized I could help more people being a founder dreamer than I could laying hands on people. I loved adjusting patients. I think it's one of the greatest, jobs out there. Is helping people like one at a time. But I realized a while ago that my intention, my purpose was to help as many people as I possibly could. That's when I took all of the executive courses here, because I wanted to learn how to be, you are a business. You've been a business since the day you were born. They gave you a tax ID number. It's called your social security number. It's true. You're a business. So I looked at that and I said, how can I actually serve and help more people? And it was by being a founder dreamer. Now, when we first started practice, for those of you who are in the grind, like, when you first started practice, what are you doing? You're adjusting. I remember adjusting patients Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, I was doing accounting, billing. I was doing AR. I was, payroll, marketing. So it's 24, 365 gig, right? 24/7, 365. And it was, and what happens is when you're wearing all 3 hats, when you're being a technician, a manager, and a founder dreamer, that ceiling is set low. It's tough to bust through that barrier. You're going to have to decide at some point in time, what hat am I taking off? Right. And I just decided if I wanted to help as many people as I possibly could, I wanted to learn how to dream. I wanted to create freedom for myself to dream again, because I had no time to dream if I was doing everything all the time. That's when I started hiring employees, buying time to help me to scale. Okay. And an example of that. So once I was pushed out of the organization, which for the staff in here, your job should be to push the owner out of that area. If you're at the front desk, don't touch this front desk. I control it. If you're a case manager, you own that case management room. You have a kick-ass starting percentage. You get the owner should not be doing that. If you're in billing, owner should never be calling the insurance companies. If you're an associate doctor, and you've pushed that owner out of treatment, that owner should never come in and treat again. Your job is to push that owner up and out if that's what their dream is. Because if that's their dream, what happens when all this time, when I'm not treating patients and I'm not with patients anymore, or I'm not doing case management, now I have time to dream. Because guess what? If you're a business owner here, you're a dreamer. And you'll start dreaming, and you'll start second office, third office, creates expansion for everyone. I started medical training companies that we've helped 75 million people in the last 8 years by creating that company. And it was all about helping people, right? It's a bigger impact. And so this came off of, like I said, you know, managed by statistics, no one's taking it. Business formula of success, no one's taking it. Like there are business classes here. There's like 20 of them that if you engross yourself in those classes and take them, you create freedom for yourself, massive abundance, because you'll learn how to be, you are a business, learn how to actually operate as a business. Does that make sense? So if you have questions on that, pull me aside anytime or talk to Quentin, Brenna, or Ethan, or talk to your coach about it. But sharpen the axe, as Abe Lincoln said before. If he had 6 hours to cut down a tree, he'd spend 4 hours sharpening the axe, right? So just, you know, grind it out and take these courses. So be safe tonight. Have a great evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep.